Alright, welcome everybody. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We are going to be watching and reacting to something from the Every Frame a Picture YouTube channel. If you're unfamiliar with that channel, it's basically, they don't do much right now and haven't done much recently at all, but they have lots of really cool behind the scenes documentaries, explanation videos from the history of film and art and entertainment as a thing. So definitely go check out that YouTube channel if you enjoy this video. The link to the one we're about to watch will be in the description as always. And this one is Buster Keaton, The Art of the Gag. And I just thought I was going to watch it anyway, and I thought let's react to it and let's see if I can share some thoughts about it as well as we go. I recently picked up this Blu-ray set, this Masters of Cinema Blu-ray set. If you've been watching my sort of movie hauls and Blu-ray updates recently, you would have seen I picked this one up this year. And this is the Buster Keaton Complete Short Films set from 1917 to 1923. And this was my absolute introduction to Buster Keaton. I had seen The General before and really enjoyed it, but I hadn't really looked into his stuff, and I've been enjoying every so often going through all these short films from his early days and checking out him being discovered and that sort of thing and really enjoying that, but I've definitely not jumped into it as much as I was hoping to. I feel like that's a thing with a lot of Blu-ray collectors as well. When you get a big box set like this, it's like the novelty of it, and it's sitting on the shelf and you can see it every time you look at the shelf and you're like, oh, looks beautiful. And you're almost, you know, not trepidatious to go and watch everything on it because you don't want to have it to be over already. You want to enjoy it and really take your time with it, and then it just becomes a bit of a piss take where you're not watching anything from it. And I've kind of fell into that trap. It was the exact same with my Alfred Hitchcock set and my James Bond set. You know, I'm so buzzing to get them, and then they just sit there for a while because I don't want to like spoil it for me. I still like that novelty, you know, so I'm yet to really dive into this. But I've watched a lot of the first disc and it's been really good, and I've read a lot of the booklets, so very interesting. Looking forward to really diving into it. I know there's a lot of like masterpieces on this set, and I've heard a lot about a bunch of these films, so I'm looking forward to getting to that. But let's check out this lead documentary video from Every Frame a Painting. Let's see what they have to say about the one and only Buster Keaton. I don't know how the volume's going to be. Will I put the earphones in? That would make sense, Chris. That would make sense. Here we go. Alright, let's do this.
Hi, my name is Tony, and this is Every Frame a Painting. There are some filmmakers who are so influential that no matter where you look, you see traces of them everywhere.
What
I see this filmmaker's framing in the works of Wes Anderson.
Absolutely. Grand Budapest Hotel,
His
one of my
acrobatics and
favourites.
stunts in Jackie Chan.
Wow.
And his deadpan posture in Bill Murray.
I just got lost in translation the other day. Check out the
He, of
movie
course,
hall.
is Buster Keaton, one of the three great silent comedians.
He was, as we're now beginning to realize, the greatest of all the clowns in the history of cinema.
And nearly 100 years later, I think he still has plenty to teach us about visual comedy. So today, let's take a look at how the master builds a gag. Ready? Let's go.
Wow.
The first thing you need to know about visual comedy is that you have to tell your story through action. Keaton was a visual storyteller, and he never liked it when other directors told their story through the title cards.
The average picture used 240 titles. That was about the average.
240 was the average?
Yes, and the most I ever used was 56.
He avoided title cards by focusing on gesture and pantomime. In this shot, you never find out what these two are talking about. Everything you need to know is conveyed through the table and their body language.
But what you had to say, you had to communicate to the audience in only one way. Through action.
That's right. We eliminated subtitles just as fast as we could if we could possibly tell it in action.
Keaton believed that each gesture you did should be unique. Never do the same thing twice. Every single fall is an opportunity for creativity.
Oh my goodness.
But once you know the action, we come to the second problem. Where do you put the camera?
Brilliant.
Visual gags generally work best from one particular angle. And if you change the angle, then you're changing the gag. And it might not work as well.
Interesting.
Finding the right angle is a matter of trial and error. So let's take a look at two possible camera placements for the same joke. Here's the first one.
It's so ridiculous. Well, that's interesting, seeing it from both different ones. I think they both work.
You'll notice in the first angle, the car takes up most of the frame, and we don't get a clear look at Buster until he turns around. But in the second angle, the car is placed in the background, and we always have a clear view of his face. This split second, where he doesn't know what's happening but we do, that's much better from over here. And in the first angle, the framing splits our attention. Our eyes want to look at his face and the sign at the same time. But after reframing the scene, our eyes naturally look at him, then the sign, then back to him.
Interesting. I was liking the first angle because it looked as if looked more like he was attached to the car, whereas in the second angle, maybe it's because I knew it was going to happen, but you could kind of see he was sitting on something that was detached from the car. I'm also well aware that I've not seen a bunch of these films, and I'm worried that some of the gags will be sort of like spoiled for me or whatever, but I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference because when you're watching the film as a whole, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be, and we're seeing so many of them here. It's not as if I'm going to be remembering that video and, you know, that one gag. There's going to be so many here. But even just watching the compilation of all these gags here and these slapstick reactions from him, it's just making me want to dive into this Blu-ray set so much more. And it's probably going to be something I do very soon. Sooner than later anyway. Let's continue.
Now we come to the third question. What are the rules of this particular world? Buster's world is flat and governed by one law. If the camera can't see it, then the characters can't see it either. In Buster's world, the characters are limited by the sides of the frame and by what's visible to us, the audience. And this allows him to do jokes that make sense visually, but not logically.
Wow.
A lot of his gags are about human movement in the flat world.
Genius.
He can go to the right, to the left, up, down, away from the lens, or towards it. Look familiar?
She's been murdered, and you think I did it.
She just runs. Brilliant.
Like Wes Anderson, Buster Keaton found humor in geometry. He often placed the camera further back so you could see the shape of a joke. There are circles, triangles, parallel lines, and of course, the shape of the frame itself, the rectangle.
Always find that shot really interesting.
I think staging like this is great because it encourages the audience to look around the frame and see the humor for themselves. In this shot, think about where your eyes are looking.
Brilliant.
Now where's he? Some of these gags have their roots in vaudeville and are designed to play like magic tricks.
What on earth?
And like all great magic tricks, part of the fun is trying to guess how it was done.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So interesting and engaging.
Keaton had a name for gags like these. He called them impossible gags. They're some of his most inventive and surreal jokes. But as a storyteller, he found them tricky because they broke the rules of his world.
We had to stop doing impossible gags and what we call cartoon gags. We lost all of that when we started making feature pictures. They had to be believable, or your story wouldn't hold up.
So instead, he focused on what he called the natural gag, the joke that emerges organically from the character and the situation. Consider what he does with this door. Keaton claimed that for visual comedy, you had to keep yourself open to improvisation.
How much of it was planned and how much came out in the actual doing? How much was improvised, you know?
Well, as a rule, about 50% you have in your mind before you start the picture, and the rest you develop as you're making it.
It just comes to you,
Sometimes he would find a joke he liked so much that he would do a callback to it later. But other times, jokes that he planned beforehand wouldn't work on the day. So he would just get rid of them.
Because they don't stand up and they don't work well.
Oh my God.
The ones come.
He was supposed to make this jump, but since he missed, he decided to keep the mistake and build on it.
So you seldom got a scene like that good the second time. You generally got them that first one.
maybe that's one of the reasons there was so much laughter in the house the other night. I mean, the younger people and I had this feeling that what we were seeing was happening now.
Right.
That
Yeah, I've seen that one
once.
before, obviously,
Not
in the
something
general.
that's pre-done and done and done.
And that brings us to the last thing about Buster Keaton, and his most famous rule.
Wow.
Never fake a gag. For Keaton, there was only one way to convince the audience that what they were seeing was real. He had to actually do it.
Oh
Without
my
cutting.
god.
He was so strict about this that he once said, "Either we get this in one shot,
Oh my
or we throw
god.
out the gag." And it's why he remains vital nearly 100 years later. Not just for his skill, but for his integrity. That's really him. And no advancement in technology can mimic this.
Some Indiana Jones stuff
Even now, we're amazed when filmmakers actually do it for real.
there. Inception.
But I think he did it better 95 years ago.
Right.
So no matter how many times you've seen someone else pay homage to him,
God.
nothing beats the real thing.
Wow. So that was in, so there you go, there's the Patreon there for Every Frame of Painting. Just a brilliant YouTube channel to give you so much context and just educate you on so many things. And you know, have been a sort of admirer of Buster Keaton since I watched The General, and I've seen some clips and stuff from like documentaries before and stuff, and it's made me want to get this set. But now I'm just buzzing to watch the rest of it, you know, and I know this is early work, I know we kind of want to do some more stuff like feature length and stuff, but you got to, you know, expect some genius moments in these short films as well, and I've heard there's some really classics in here too. I mean, just an absolute genius in terms of not letting something be ruined just because it wasn't necessarily written down before, or if something didn't go well. You know, a lot of directors do that when something doesn't go to plan, they just chuck the whole thing and start again. Whereas Buster Keaton was more up to kind of letting it flow and play out, and then we can see what we get from this. And that's so admirable as like a movie fan and a movie watcher. You want the unexpected to happen, you don't want it to all seem so contrived. And now, knowing more about him, watching that simple 8 minutes 30 documentary on there, now everything with him I'm going to watch like a Buster Keaton short or a feature or anything about him, it's like the unexpected, you never know what's going to happen, it's almost like it's live. And that's kind of what the guy was saying there about those theatre audiences, they're watching it as if it's happening right now because everything is shot from so far away, one shot, one take, no cuts. You can see everything on the screen, and everything you can see is also everything that Buster can see, letting the audience in and really making them feel part of the production. It's just a brilliant filmmaker and just a brilliant art to have, you know, and as an actor and as a film lover and stuff, and someone who's been in short films before, it's just something that I can admire and just kind of strive to be like. But I loved watching that, and I'm going to check out some more documentaries that I've not seen from that channel, so please do the same. And if you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed my reaction, please subscribe, please tell a friend, and please follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, @CM42TV. I'll see you all later.